Good morning and welcome to Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests. My name is Catherine Blue Holmes and I serve on your Board of Trustees. And today I am happy to serve also as your worship associate. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. We acknowledge our harmful colonial histories and commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community with each other and with the land itself. Today's service is led by the Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhart. The music is led today by Dr. Zenaida Robles with Wells Lang and the Neighborhood Chorus. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Families with young children are always welcome in the sanctuary, and there is an additional play area for the very youngest in our narthex. For adults and older youth who don't need assistance, there is a quiet crafting table close to the organ. I have 3 announcements. After the service today here in the sanctuary, you are all invited to participate in a congregational art project as part of the final stage of the Truth and Reconciliation process. We will meet in Ross Chapel, where commissioned artist Jasmine Bayetz will lead us in making art. This is fun for all ages. Families and people of all ages are encouraged to join us. We had a great conversation about the solar project last week after the service. The next opportunity for conversation is Wednesday, November 12th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. See the newsletter for the Zoom link. Next Sunday after the service is the mid-year congregational meeting. To tempt you to stay a little bit longer after the service, there will be a special bake sale to benefit the children and youth programs too. To see information about the meeting, see the newsletter. Our order of service this morning is available as a link in the Sunday email and online by scanning the QR code on the back of your hymnal with your phone camera. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, an inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service.
Each morning we hold out our chalice of being to be filled with the graces of life that abound. Air to breathe, food to eat, companions to love, beauty to behold, art to cherish, causes to serve. These words by Richard Gilbert. Today we gather together to be filled, to help nourish others, and to grow in community, to grow in purpose, and to grow in gratitude for the purpose that we are growing into as well. To appreciate art and to make art out of our shared experience. Come, let us worship together this morning. I invite you into a moment of centering as we gather today. I'll begin with the complete writings of Robert, followed by a few moments of silence after the bell. So I invite you to find yourself seated in this time and place, perhaps a deep centering breath, and if it feels comfortable to you, to close your eyes. Each morning we hold out our chalice of being to be filled with the graces of life that abound. Air to breathe, food to eat, companions to love, beauty to behold, art to cherish, causes to serve. They come in ritual procession, these gifts of life, whether we deserve them, we cannot know, we cannot say, for they are poured out of us. Our task is to hold steady the chalice of our being. We carry the chalice with us as we go, either meandering aimlessly or with destination in our eye. We share its abundance if we have any sense, reminding others as we remind ourselves of the contents of this chalice. Water from living streams fills it, if only we hold it out faithfully. We give back, if we can, something of ourselves, some love, some beauty, some grace, some gift. We give back in gratitude, if we can, something like what is poured into our chalice of being, for those who abide with us and will follow. Each morning we hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and to give back.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 396. I know this rose will open. We will sing it once all together, and then we invite you to join us in a canon where we sing it all at different times, and I'll close us out at the end.
I know
At this time, we'd like to invite all of our children and youth forward. Those of you young at heart who would like to join us as well, come on up and we're going to hear our Time for All Ages story. Come on up.
Good morning. So today in service, part of what Reverend Omega is going to be talking about is creativity. And so we have a wonderful book this morning. It's called Maybe Something Beautiful: How Art Transformed a Neighborhood. And after the service, we have a chance to make art together using clay. So, and other materials too. There are materials for kids, and there's clay. In the heart of a gray city, there lived a girl who loved to doodle, draw, color, and paint. Every time she saw a blank piece of paper, Mira thought to herself, maybe. And because of this, her room was filled with color, and her heart was filled with joy. On her way to school one day, Mira gave a round apple to Mr. Henry, the owner of the shop down the street. She gave a flower to Miss Lopez, the lady with the sparkling eyes. She gave a songbird to Mr. Sachs and a red heart to the policeman who walked up and down the streets. On her way home, Mira taped a glowing sun onto the wall, hiding in the shadows. Her city was less gray, but not much. The next day, Mira saw a man with a pocket full of paintbrushes. He gazed at the wall. He looked at her son. He held his fingers up in a square and peered through them. He said thoughtfully. What do you see? Mira asked. Maybe something beautiful, the man replied. Then, just like that, he dipped a brush in the paint. Bam! Pow! The shadows scurried away. Sky blue cut through the gloom. The man's laughter was like a rainbow spreading across the sky. Yeah, we can still see Mira's sun on the wall. Who are you? Mira asked. I'm an artist, he said. A muralist. I paint on walls. I'm an artist too, she told him. He handed Mira a brush. Then come on. Yeah, and he's handing. Mira dipped it in the loudest color she saw. Yowee! The wall lit up like sunshine. Her son is still there. As the man drew pictures on the bricks, Mira added color punch and pizzazz. Soon Mr. Sachs joined in. Then came others. Everyone painted to the rhythm. Salsa, merengue, bebop. Even Mira's mama painted and danced the cha-cha-cha. The whole neighborhood became a giant block party. Until the policeman walked up. "Excuse me," he said. The music stopped. Mira put her brush down. They were surely in trouble. The officer cleared his throat, then paused. "May I paint with you?" he asked. So Mira handed him a paintbrush, and the music started again. Teachers and papas jumped in, babies too. Mira and the man handed out brush after brush. Color spread through the streets. So did joy. Wherever Mira and the man went, art followed like the string of a kite. After they colored the walls, they painted utility boxes and benches. They decorated sidewalks with poetry and shine, and everyone danced. Together, they created something more beautiful than they had ever imagined. When their clothes were spattered with 1,000,000 colors, everyone sat down to rest, except the muralist. His eyes sparkle. "You, my friends, are all artists," he told them. "The world is your canvas." He smiled wide, then pulled everything together in big, sweeping motions. His paintbrush was like a magic wand. When he was finished, Mira added one more bird way up in the sky. Maybe, she thought, just maybe. That's it. They're still creating. That's not the end. So I hope that people will join us for the art creation after service. I would like to welcome, so we are going to walk out in just a second, and I know we have some new people. So ages 4 and up can come with us to class, and anyone under 4 is welcome to be in service or in the narthex area. You're 5, okay. Awesome, you can come with us. All right, we're gonna sing the kids out.
Each Sunday, our congregation donates 100% of its contributions to 501c3 organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that are making a difference in our community and the world. You can donate in one of 2 ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen. Actually, I guess we've got at least one screen today. Or if you prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes during the music or after the service. There is a donation box here in the front, behind the back center row, and in the narthex entryway on the table. You may rise during the music to put your donation in the box if you wish. Please extend help to those in your neighborhood who may need assistance reaching the donation boxes. If you wish to make a payment toward your pledge or contribute to church operations, make a note, please, on the subject line or use an envelope available at the donation boxes. This week, our gifts will support the Boys and Girls Club of Pasadena. Here with more information is CEO Lisa Cavalier, who was gamely participating in sending our children out. Thank you for giving generously.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Yeah, what a great way to start the morning with a bunch of kids. Oops, that's my world. I'm Lisa Cavalier. I've been with the Boys and Girls Club for 7 years last week. I was told I have 3 minutes, and at Rotary sometimes they say, be brilliant, be brief, be gone. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do my best. First, I'm going to talk a tiny bit about who we are. Then I want to touch on the Eaton Fire, and then a talk for just another moment on our Pasadena Teen Center that we just opened. We've been here in town for 88 years, serving children who are 5 to 18 years old. We've got, I call us one club with 4 locations, so 2 big clubhouses that you may have seen. Excuse me, 1 second. There's a little escape there. one club, 4 clubhouses, 4 clubs. So we've got 2 big clubhouses on Del Mar and on North Fair Oaks, and then we're also on the Odyssey Charter School campus. They did lose one of their schools during the fire, and so we're now consolidated onto one, but that's what we call ourselves. We have 65 staff members who work daily with in the after school hours with kids, and we call ourselves out of school hours. So we're with kids all summer with the walls just quaking with the number of kids that we get, and then we're in the holidays and also during the after school hours. So regarding let me talk about the 3 pillars: academic success, healthy lifestyles, and good character and leadership. So it used to be that it was all about games and fun, and 60 years ago, just keeping kids off the street. And now we really come alongside kids and their families as well and help keep them up in school. And I loved talking about the arts today. We have all kinds of arts activities, from dance and performing arts to fine arts and things. The Eaton Fire hit hard, as you know, and I'm sorry if anybody in this room was really directly impacted. It's been a journey that none of us have wanted to be on these last 10 months now. The day after the fire, we were closed. The next day we opened and we didn't close again. We offered it to the entire community to come in. We had over 400 kids on a few of those days for 3 weeks when kids were out of school. The very first morning, I thought I'm going to share this with you. The very first morning I came in, a little boy we've known for a long time walked right up to me, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" "Good, hi, Miss Lisa." Looks me right in the face and says, "My house burned down." 7 years old, and I thought, oh, okay. And I put my arm around him just aside, and I said, "You know what? We're in this together. We're going to work on this together. We're here for you. We're going to keep you safe." Those next 3 weeks when kids were out of school, it was business as usual, fun, social time for them, feeling that they belong, feeling that they've got normal activities while their parents were off working on the hardest things that they've probably worked on in their lives. But it also showed me that we have a lot of work to do with them, and that is where we've come alongside them. I think Ann is going to be talking next week, and I'm going to have her talk about our mental health supports that we've had in place, that we've put in place. Some we already had and some we've added to, because kids are coming into the door, as you can imagine, with a lot more than they did before. The last thing I want to touch on is our Pasadena Teen Center. We were going to be developing this already, and we decided to speed it up because we were seeing teens that didn't have a place to rebuild community. We can talk about rebuilding homes and rebuilding, but we really felt that our teens, meaning our high schoolers, and then our tweens leading up to that, needed a place to rebuild. So we divided off a part of one of our buildings on North Fair Oaks and created a standalone, its own entrance, separate from K-8 kids, space for high school teens. And it opened in August when school started. That was the big push. We're doing a grand opening in December, but keep watching for news about that, because we really feel like that's the population that if we don't capture now with what they need to go and succeed in life, then they're going to be lost. And I don't want to lose. I was about to say panic. That's not the right word. I feel urgency around that, and that our middle schoolers as well are feeding into that. So thank you for the 3 minutes today, and thank you for the time and your generosity in letting us be here today just to tell you a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club at Pasadena. If anybody ever wants to volunteer, we are wide open for that, with all kinds of opportunities with that. We even have jazzercise. Kate in our building over here I'm sitting with does jazzercises in our building 6 or 7 times a week. So Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
Thank you to Lisa Cavalier, and thank you for joining me in giving.
See the world through my eyes. Measure the pain through the cries. Lead us down, the hopes will never rise. Fate's warning, the struggle to divide. Common road can break the bitter man. Life's awaiting defeat. Memories of dreams pushed aside. Can you dream for me? Mother, hold my hand. Hold on to the price of my life. Tears haven't dried. Always, always in strife. Take from me the colors from the truth. People dying to be heard. and brown. Can you bleed for me? Wounded earth. Can you die for me? Take these words. Can you fear for me when I'm gone? Can you sing for me when I'm gone? Can you sing for me?
St. Francis of Assisi wrote in the famous Canticle of the Sun that he called his brothers and sisters the sun and the moon and the stars, fire. The poem I'm going to read to you today is directed to St. Francis, but it is about Vincent van Gogh. It is entitled Dear Lover of Light by Abigail Carroll. Dear lover of light, there lived a priest so in love with light it drove him mad. When he could no longer preach, he hopped a train south, took up a brush, turned zinc and lead and chrome into gaudy, wild-petaled ambassadors of the dawn. He slapped stars as big as brooches on the sky, danced crows across bowing fields of wheat, exalted a bowl of onions, a bridge, a pipe, a chair, a bed. Postmen and prostitutes were his friends, so too were irises, almond trees, windmills, clouds. Francis, if you think of a painting as a kind of song, he too canticled the sun.
If that last
Mistakes are interesting. That's what I was telling myself. Anyway, I kept telling myself this when I was painting a few weeks ago when I was in Costa Rica. I was thinking of Bob Ross. We don't make mistakes, just happy accidents. These are the two mantras I kept repeating when I was looking down at the soggy watercolors on my paper. Mistakes are interesting. As I watched the paint slowly drip off my paper onto my hands and my clothing in the bouts of the afternoon thunderstorms, these are happy accidents. I kept telling myself, embrace the happy accidents. Now, truth be told, I conceived of this service in conversation a few months ago before this recent trip. I conceived of this service when talking with members of our Truth and Reconciliation team here at Neighborhood Church as they planned on this project that we will embark on today, this community art project that we will gather to do after the service today, when the artist Jasmine Bates proposed a ceramics project as the capstone, as the work that this committee has been doing. When she proposed this capstone community project of creating ceramics together out of clay, we'd be putting our hands in the clay, we'd be shaping it with water and the strength of our own forearms and our bodies, many of us together, hands in clay, on this campus, together. I would be lying if I said that the first word that came to my mind wasn't mess. Mess. I took a deep breath and I reminded myself that messiness, it can be productive. It can be fun. Mess can be theological. I told myself, yes, mess. Let's embrace it. Let's create something. Let's get a little dirty. Let's create some chaos. But also, let's engage with some wonder and some beauty. Let's go for it. Let's make a mess together. But carefully and over the drop cloths would be great. It's also true that it took my own experience recently with making art in a medium that I don't usually choose to be reminded that messy art is more than just making happy accidents. It can be liberating to make something that you know will likely not succeed. It won't be a product that can be commodified. It might not even be measured by any sort of success, because what it does is it removes the end result from the equation and forces one to enjoy the process of making. And for some of us that can be tough. I know for me sometimes it is as well. I could have titled this sermon, "Why on earth did I think bringing watercolors to the rainforest would be a good idea?" You know, the rainforest, where it rains, where nothing ever dries, where humidity means that my suitcase on return was fully 5 pounds heavier, and I know because they weighed it in front of me. It was heavier going home, and I'm sure it was just from the clothing that just got wetter as the week went on. Why did I bring watercolors, a medium that once is applied to paper needs drying time, in order to be able to work on it again? Watercolors that bleed and run together when they get wet. I have been an artist my whole life, most comfortably with oil paints that are somewhat more forgiving in their layer ability. They don't dry quickly, that is true, but with some technique you can massage the layers together over a period of time. Those happy accidents can be modified and changed if you'd like. There are no mistakes. Instead, I brought my little travel set of watercolors and I set off on my first day, my arrival in Playa Chiquita, with my small pad of watercolor paper, and I laid down that first layer of colors. Any of you work with watercolors, you know you start with the lightest color first, right? So lay down some yellow. And it had been raining all afternoon, and as I painted, I noticed my whole pad of paper just absorbing the atmosphere slowly. All of the water from the rainforest was now in my small pad of watercolor paper. And I just watched the colors bleed together. And I could hear the voice of my art professor from years ago admonishing me, avoid muddy colors, make sharp edges. And I'd like to thank, at this point, Mrs. Bingham, who could have guessed your words would have followed me all these years later, as I tried to capture the voluptuous leaves and the flowers of the jungle, only to find myself with a page full of very colorful blobs. But then something happened. A few days later, when the pages dried a bit, I was able to go over the paintings with some markers and pull out those delicate shapes that had all run together in front of me. The banana leaves here and snaking vines, the deep blue of the shadows in the fruit on the table, the brown earth of the decaying leaves, the mushrooms, the star fruit, and the guano of the agouti, which is this adorable small rodent animal. It's like a capybara, only tinier. It ran through our camp, munching on all of those fallen delicacies. The bright green leaves of the sun, brilliantly shining with the diamonds through the afternoon rainstorm. And thus began my ritual, my worship each day. I would start a new painting, sometimes even when I was supposed to be in my yoga lesson. I figured they were all doing downward dog so I could paint, nobody noticed. Sometimes even during my meditation lesson, I figured painting is meditation, it's fine. I would start a new painting every day, but what I realized is I would have to let it dry for a few days and then I could go back to it. So each painting took multiple days. I found, even after a particularly heavy series of rains, that the words I had jotted down as a diary entry in a reflection session had gotten so smeared that painting over them just felt like really the only right thing to do. Thus, I have no journal entries from that trip, only these impressions covered by water stains and leaves and flowers and the golden orb spider, and a whole daily traffic jam of leafcutter ants that wound its way through our camp every day. Louise Erdich posed the question in the book, The Painted Drum. She says, it causes me to wonder, what is my own purpose on so many days as humble as the spiders? What is beautiful that I make? What is elegant? What feeds the world? And I do not propose that this art that I made feeds the world, these messy watercolors with ants of varying numbers of legs. It's a rough estimate of ants' legs. But in that messiness of it, the colors and the textures of the page, the process of layering and acceptance that it wasn't going to turn out like I wanted it to, and experimentation, that all fed me. It reminded me that I'm not in control of everything, but that my health is important, and that slowing down to observe the tiniest is also important. I need respite. You need respite. We need the change in our perspective, the big picture to the tiny. And if I'm attentive to what I need to be attentive to, I am so much better. I am healthier, I am happier, and I serve you better. I also remember that I need to have wonder and curiosity in the world, and making a mess in art certainly reminds that. It reminds me that I can be playful and non-judgmental, and that processes can be, and sometimes should be, more important than the object of the process. I am reminded as an artist to be grateful for the small moments as well as the large ones that make up my life. I'm reminded that history is an important teacher, and that to make meaningful change in our right here, right now, it will make change for the future. And that there's no better way to usher in a new way of being than to somewhat reverently and pretty irreverently get a little messy in the act of creation. And I think I needed this reminder, especially now, because of the world we're living in. Padraig Ó Tuama, one of my favorite theologian poets, and I have many, as it turns out, quoted Toni Morrison after the elections in 2004. This was after one of the elections where Bush won. Do you remember those days? Some of us do. And I think this lesson from Toni Morrison is so applicable today. She wrote, "This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. This is how civilizations heal. I know the world is bruised and bleeding, and though it is important not to ignore its pain, it is also critical to refuse to succumb to its malevolence. Like failure, chaos contains information that can lead to knowledge, even wisdom, like art. Making art, I feel, not the commodity, not the product of it, but the making of it, is a way out of fear for me. It's a way out of rules. It's a way to think about a problem in a new way. In the words of Toni Morrison, it can lead to knowledge and wisdom. Whether this art is in watercolors, or maybe it's clay today, or it's poetry. Whatever your medium is, the bread you bake and the protest signs that you color together. And when art is made and created on a collective scale, not just as individuals alone, but on a collective scale in community, it can change us. It can change our community. It can change our world. Padraig Ó Tuama, he frames this way, this collective experience of making art. I believe that we are at our collaborative best when we make. I know that the most self-serving parts of my character are elevated into something better when I am part of groups that demonstrate what can occur when rage and resistance and energy and despair and ideas and art and protest and strategy and collaboration can be employed for something that addresses the consequences of our worst violences. This is, for me, he goes on to say, the aesthetics that can prove and provide nurture to human organizing. I see little fundamental difference between a group of committed people pursuing their creative goals and harnessing the rage and energy and ideas that fuel my own editorial work on a poem that is needing to be sharpened in its own destiny. Commitment to the work, the group, and a commitment to the idea that make more ideas possible. Art reminds us of all of this. So make art. Make art together. Challenge yourself to make experiments, make mistakes, on purpose even sometimes. Open your mind and your spirit to what is possible when the unexpected happens, when your ant winds up with 6 or 12 legs, and when you are able to do it in a group. Maybe your playfulness and your happy accidents turn out to be fun and joyful in community. Maybe it is an act of reconciling the past, of gratitude for the lessons, and for creativity in imagining the future. Maybe getting our hands dirty together will create energy and fuel for organizing a whole new way of being together. Maybe it will show that we have resistance to defeat. Maybe it will be part of a revolution. Or maybe it will be a soggy, colorful mess that will bring you a little bit of joy. And that nourishes you when you're feeling down. And really, isn't that the same as a revolution? Maybe so.
Please rise in body or in spirit. Join us in singing our closing hymn, number 95, There is More Love Somewhere.
The words of our benediction this morning come from Robert Monson, and he writes this: "This world is a lot, perhaps too much, and in that muchness I lose my way often. I've lost count. The loss is sometimes gradual, a growing numbness and a hardness that develops from the hours and the years spent pulling myself up by the bootstraps and being labeled as the responsible one. Well, God, release the play, release the joy," he says, "the joy this world definitely cannot confer to me. Spaces to lie down and move around, places of refuge that are marked by smiles and fun. Places where I can co-create and play with you. Amen."